Hello everyone, my name is Roya and welcome to yet another monthly recommendations video. So if you don't know, monthly recommendations is a Goodreads group created by Between Chapters and Kayla Rain. And today's theme, or this month's theme, I mean, is international reads. So this could go any number of ways. It could be books that are written by international authors or books that are set internationally, etc., etc. So I just kind of decided to pick like both and just go with it. So the first recommendation that I have for you is actually not a book, it's an author, and that is Yrsa Sigurdardóttir. I'm not completely sure if I'm pronouncing her name right or not, but she writes Icelandic crime novels. Her books are so good. Last Rituals is actually the first one, but I read that one like second, because really you can pretty much read them in any order. They're not really, you know, like most crime novel series is, a lot of them aren't really like, they're serial but they're not. So I'll just leave a link to her books Goodreads thing down below. The next book that I have to recommend is a German book by a German author that is set in Germany. I mean, obviously, if it's a German book, it's gotta be like either set in Germany or by a German author. But anyway, that is The Tin Drum by Günter Grass. And this book is extremely weird. So if you like weird, you will probably like this book. I mean, really, really weird. So basically, it is about a boy who, when he's really young, like 3 or 4, he stunts his own growth, kind of, because he doesn't want to deal with his father's expectations. I can't talk. His father's expectations of him. So even when he's like that young, and he like overhears his father saying like, "Oh, my son is going to take over the company," and blah de blah. And so he's like, "Screw this, I'm gonna be a child forever." And so he just stops growing. And which is really, really odd. It's definitely a strange book in a lot of ways, because he's like a child but also an adult the entire time. And just a lot of weird stuff happens too. I've heard that the movie of this can be extremely graphic, because there's a part where they catch eels using a dead horse, which it is described in this, but apparently like that part in the movie is like really gross or something like that. And I can't do a video about international books without representing not necessarily my country of ancestry, but at least my region of ancestry, because when it comes to Middle East memoirs, I'm like an encyclopedia of Middle East memoirs. I've been kind of considering maybe doing a video about memoirs from the Middle East, but I'm not really sure if I really want to do that or not. So if you want to see something like that, let me know in the comments. But by far, my favorite memoir from the Middle East is Princess by Jean Sasson, and this is a biography of a Saudi Arabian princess. And basically, this book is not written by her, but it was like dictated to the author by her in an interview. So it's basically like, it's told in first person, but she didn't write it. So it's basically her story. And so she basically shares like all this stuff about how difficult it is for women in Saudi Arabia, and all these stories about not just what she's gone through, but what people she knows has gone through. And I mean, a lot of the Middle East might seem, you know, a little bit like the men are better than the women and whatnot, or they think they are, but Saudi Arabia kind of takes it to the extreme, where like women can't drive, polygamy is a normal thing, whether like the women want that or not. So this book kind of portrays things like a man going, "Oh, my wife is like past her childbearing years, I'm just gonna get another wife," or whatever, as like normal, pretty much. And so some of the things that are talked about in this book are extremely sad, like, you know, somebody just getting locked up forever just because she sleeps with somebody else, stuff like that. So it's kind of, there's just a lot of craziness in this book and this whole series. It's actually 3 books that are all sort of the same continuation of the same thing. And honestly, the second one is particularly interesting because she starts talking about what her own daughters have gone through and her own kids, and also it opens with her brother finding out about the first book, which is pretty weird. But this is a super entertaining read, and the fact that it's a true story just makes it even more so. And finally, we have a book that I have talked about on this channel before, Moonraker's Bride by Madeline Brent. And Moonraker's Bride is about a girl in China who she's actually English, but she was born in China, or she was raised in China, and then she gets basically adopted by, or fostered, I guess, I don't know, by like an English family who wanted a child fluent in Chinese, raised in China, to translate a text that would lead them to a treasure. And so it's a really, really weird, crazy book, and it's really interesting. And also Madeline Brent is British, so and he is actually a man named Peter O'Donnell or something. I think that's his name. So anyway, that's also, so it's an international author writing a book that takes place in yet a different country. Even so, this is a really good book. I need to reread it at some point. So those are the books that I have to recommend for you today. Please let me know what your favorite international books are, because I would love to check them out, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!